Hi everyone, and welcome to a special pop-up PD from the team at Mote. My name's John, and I'm delighted to be joined by Eleni. Eleni, hello, and how are you?
Hi, John. I'm good, thank you, and delighted to be back here to chat everything about MoteCon 2022.
Yes, so just in case you missed it, first of all, where have you been? 2 weeks ago, we were delighted and proud to host MoteCon 2022. 22 sessions over not only the 2 days of MoteCon itself, but also in the pre-conference. And what we wanted to do today was to share some of Eleni's top 5 picks that you might want to look at yourself, but also share with those members of your learning community that are looking for some sparks and some ideas for their own classroom. Does that sound good, Eleni?
Sounds great to me, John. I'll get started, and with my first presenter that I wanted to recap a great presentation was Tiffany Castillo, and she's spoken about hidden accessibility with Mote. And the thing I loved about this was that she wasn't just focusing on creating different resources or making students feel excluded or everyone know that they were getting extra support. She'd actually used Mote within Google Slides, Canva, and Slides Mania to hide a Mote to take them to another presentation where they could get further assistance and help. And I thought this was a really cool idea, the way she did it, by hiding a shape or a computer or an image and directing them to more information when they needed help, and then just saying to them, you need some more help, just head to the computer or something, and mentioning it to a student to go to a different task or to get more support. And something I didn't know that I actually learned from her, that in Canva, when you go to export, you can save it directly to your Google Drive, which was really, really cool. So if you haven't seen that little hack and little sneaky bit that's hidden there in Canva, make sure you go check out her session, because the way that she differentiates in her classroom was quite amazing.
Awesome. So that was session 1, yeah. And what I should have said is that all of these sessions, you will see within the YouTube video, is that there are opportunities to tap on the screen to take you straight to these videos. And of course, once you've seen those and once you've got there, you will also be able to access any and all of the resources that were so generously shared by the presenters, including Tiffany. And I agree with you entirely, Eleni. It was nice to see that she was really thinking about, it was very much a learning and accessibility first presentation rather than something that was purely driven by voice. So yeah, hats off again to Tiffany for a great session. And what about your recommendation number 2?
The next one I would say is, I was sort of hesitant about this session, but then I really love it because not so much for me, this is something that I truly believe in, but something for staff that might not be quite there yet. So the next session I want to highly recommend is Dr. Rachel Johnson's on 5 tips to start ungrading. So I feel like I'm a little bit of the talking to the preached already. I sort of do that. I don't really like giving grades, but for some teachers, this is a really big challenge. And I loved how she spoke about 5 ways to start ungrading. So I'm going to quickly go through the 5 of them, but definitely check it out because she goes into more detail, but simply minimizing the scale to make it more achievable. So instead of out of 100, making it out of 5, or using different words, using feedback loops. So to show that learning is a continuous journey. And I loved how she spoke about that, you know, a grade sort of says that it is the end point where we can always improve on things that we do. To try portfolios, and she has some really creative ideas there. Building in reflection into everything that you do in the classroom as part of that learning process, and also to try conferencing. And as you said before, all the presenters provided so many templates that any teacher can just go straight to their slide deck, make a copy, and get started straight away. So definitely check out that. Maybe not for some of the people who are watching this, but you might want to suggest it to some staff. It's great for them to hear, you know, other ways to help them make that change in their own practice.
Yeah, thank you, Eleni. I couldn't agree more with that. I think that there are, you know, that one of the things that session is great for as well is like, you know, thinking outside of Mote, is that's just a really great conversation starter. And 1 or 2 questions that came up during the session itself. For example, I work at a school that insists upon grades. What can I do? Rachel was able to answer those questions in a really thorough and considered manner. So if you are kind of, like Eleni was saying, realizing that maybe, I'm not saying there is, but maybe there is more to life at school and learning is more than just about grades. That's probably a conversation for another time. But if you think that maybe that's something that you'd like to explore, maybe that's something that your school are doing. I know here in the Northern Hemisphere, schools going back to school. I know that's not quite. I know it's not quite the case for you at the moment. But nevertheless, it's a great time. It's always a great time to have a conversation with colleagues about practice. So check that one out. Session number 3, Eleni.
Session number 3 is Steph Howell, creativity and gamifying learning with Mote. And she really, I love this one because I'm not a huge gamer and things like that, but the ideas that she shared are practical, fun ways, especially for EAL or ELL students. Yes, depending where you are in the world. In Australia, here we call them EAL. I always get my acronyms mixed up, but I love how she simply used different games that we know, like This or That or Connect Four or Word Bingo, to help students who are learning a new language, play games instead of just reading word lists, making it a bit of fun and using that, even I was just thinking if you're a language teacher, you could do the same. So really amazing ideas to sort of bring that gamification into your classroom and make learning fun, especially, we've got a few students at my school who have just arrived from China and they've got very little English. So, trying to get them with a lot of words. I know what I'm going to do next week. Over the weekend, I'll be setting it up and sharing it with them to sort of excite them about learning new words, because it can be a bit boring for many students, especially as they do get older through school. So yeah, that's my lucky number 3 session that I would highly recommend people to check out.
And that, as you say, Eleni, was a really interesting session. I know gamification has been a hot topic for a few years. I think the way that Stephanie brought that into her presentation, that she used authentic examples from her own school, it was really, really helpful for those people that were both live on the YouTube video as it was going out, but also joining in the conversation on social media. And speaking of which, if you did want to jump in to see anything that was being discussed, you can. Twitter is probably the best place, although I know there was lots of activity on Instagram, for example, as well. But if you search Twitter for the hashtag MoteCon, that will take you to lots of really interesting thoughts and ideas. Okay, can't wait to hear the next one, Eleni. Session number 4.
The next one is from Nicole Reynolds and audio QR for community inclusivity. And, I am a huge fan of Mote QR codes. Like, I don't think that's an understatement. If you've seen many of these little pop-ups that I've done lately, it's all I love to share. But I actually loved what she did to build community and affirmation in schools. So, simply leaders can make little messages to leave for staff using this, or even on birthday cards to have students leave an audio message for students, and even for student of the weeks, because, I know my school just does an end of term award, but a student of the week award also really instills that whole thing of, just having it written on a piece of paper and handed it to them doesn't have that meaning to really what the teacher's voice and them giving and reading it out to them and giving them a bit of encouragement. So such simple, easy ideas to sort of build affirmation and community in schools. So if you need some quick, easy tips and tricks and cool ideas, check that session out.
Yeah, and that was a really wonderful session. Nicole, as actually the previous 3 presenters that you've spoken about are all Mote ambassadors. And a few months ago, she actually joined another one of those, Brittany Horn, who's based out of Texas in the US. And they were talking about not only QR, but they both showed some really interesting ways of how they were leveraging audio to kind of improve a sense of connectedness in their schools. So yeah, I totally agree. That was a wonderful session. And also thanks again to Nicole for stepping in at the last minute, because someone else unfortunately had to pull out, but Nicole was heroic in her effort. So thank you. Session number 5, Eleni.
Is from Eric Guise, and his was using templates to foster student creativity. And the thing I love about Mote and the community is that there are so many templates out there, and he shared so many in that presentation. I think it was about a 20-minute presentation. Yeah. And the amount of templates and ideas, I literally went straight away and saved it to my own drive because there were so many there. And in saying that, you know, all the sessions, all the presenters were super generous. So not only his, if you love creativity like me, check that out. But all the presenters had amazing slides. And I just also want to say that Mote, we have our learning hub as well. So a lot of the templates I saw throughout many of the sessions, they use the templates that we have on the Mote website as well. So check those out too, because we have created a range of resources, not only for MoteCon, but other resources that you can use directly in your classroom, which, you know, that's what I love about this community is everyone is so willing to share. And if you want some templates to just go get started, go check that session out because you can get started tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think, as you say, like huge, you know, debt of gratitude to all the presenters. And in this particular case, Eric really did. It was kind of from second one right up until the end. It was just packed full of ideas. I remember one of them that got a lot of excitement was he had the idea of how to use Mote for a murder mystery. So
Yes.
if anyone out there is a fan of murder mysteries and wants to, and has long been looking for a way to bring those into their classroom, jump onto Eric's session, which I'll be giving a link to now, hopefully, and you'll be able to jump in and find out about exactly how he did that and how you can do that too. So
I know those sessions, like I couldn't believe the range of sessions he went through in that presentation. Like it just, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And that's so cool too. And yeah, so it was a great 2 days. A big thank you to you, John, for organizing and being on live for those 2 days. I know it was a huge job for you as well. So I'm so glad that you were able to do that for our Mote community because it means so much. And it was great to see so many of our ambassadors. So I might even do a little plug there. If you are keen, always reach out to join our Mote community and share what you're doing as well.
Absolutely, and it was thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure just going through. It was kind of glued to my screen and to my seat for the whole of the weekend. But it was a really wonderful opportunity to celebrate those ideas. And just as you said, like maybe you're thinking Mote Ambassador is a bit of a step too far at this particular moment in time, but check out Mote Certified Educator. And if you don't think you've got time for that, head over to Facebook, join the Mote Teachers. You can just search for that and you will be welcomed and you'll see lots of discussion and healthy learning ideas being shared. So thank you. Eleni, thank you so much.
No problem at all, John.
I'm super excited for people to check out those ideas. And also, we would love to hear if there are any sessions that have stood out to you. So leave us a comment on the YouTube channel, share it to socials, and we'll make sure to connect with you to find out exactly not only why they really resonated, but hopefully how you've actually been able to use them in your classroom and with your students. So awesome. Thank you, Eleni.
Thanks, John.
Okay. Cheers, everyone. Goodbye for now.
Bye.